So it's the day after the 2021 NFL season, and there have been quite a few coaches that have already been fired. It's Monday evening, and we're going to be looking at some of these head coaches that were fired. Some surprising, some not really. Most of them were really expected, but there's a surprising one in there. So I'd like to welcome you to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. And today, we're going to be going over all the head coaches that were fired today and give you my thoughts on them. And if you enjoy hearing other people's opinions on sports, mainly the NFL, and if you like draft content, NFL mock drafts, big boards, make sure you like, subscribe, and put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any of that content. We'll be doing a lot of that stuff very soon. So let's get into these coaches that were fired today. So the first one we're going to talk about here is Vic Fangio from the Broncos. This one was mainly expected. Vic Fangio really struggled as a head coach. He is a very, very, very good defensive coordinator. Very, very good defensive mind. He's a defensive mastermind. He's a very good defensive guy. Offensive side of the ball, not really. He's very predictable. He throws a lot of short. He's just very predictable. He runs the ball a lot. He's a very old school type style of head coach. So the Broncos had enough. They're tired of mediocrity. They want to make that jump from good to great, and they believe letting go Vic Fangio is a first step in doing so. And then you have Mike Zimmer from the Minnesota Vikings. Very, very, very similar to the Broncos situation. Mike Zimmer is very similar to Vic Fangio. He's an old school coach, not an amazing offensive mind, but he knows how to put together a good run scheme and a very good defensive scheme. He's always had a good pass rush. He's always had a pretty decent defense over there in the Vikings, over there in Minnesota. So, yeah, very similar to the Broncos situation. Not really surprised there. A lot of people were expecting him to go. And then probably the one that everyone was expecting, like the 100%, was Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy, kind of similar to Mike Zimmer and Vic Fangio. Coaches that were fired today were all very similar. Matt Nagy puts together a good run game, but he's not very creative. He struggles to put offensive plays together, offensive schemes. Struggles to keep drives going. He's just not a very, very good head coach. But defensive coordinator. Oh no, he's not defensive minded. But Matt Nagy, he's at times where he looked okay, but he's not consistent. And the Bears feel like they want to make that jump from mediocrity to great as well, just like the Broncos and the Vikings. And they don't think Matt Nagy is in those plans. They also fired Ryan Pace, and then the Vikings also gave rid of their GM. So both of those teams are looking for new GMs. And then the last one, which is the most surprising one, the Miami Dolphins fire Brian Flores. This is a very, very, very surprising fire today. They really did not expect this one. So I don't think Brian Flores is going to be. I think he's going to get into another head coach gig pretty soon. I don't think he's going to be on the market very long. Whether I don't think he's going to go back to be a coordinator. I think he's a solid head coach. Just is very questionable. He does have one season where he goes 5-11, but that was a season where the Dolphins were really expected not really to win one game. They were considered one of the worst rosters / teams in the NFL history, but Brian Flores brought that team together, and they found a way to win 5 games with the very bad roster, with the very poor roster. And then you go to the next year, the next 2 years, their positive records, they have some very good years. They do very well, but 9-8. And then the year before they were 10-7. This Dolphins team was starting to really come together. They really had a good second half of the season. Didn't start very good, but they really came back and punched back and had a very, very, very solid second half of the season. Going, not 9-8 to finish the season, in which they started 1-7. So, very surprising. A lot of momentum under Brian Flores, and you get rid of him. That's a way to really, to really ruin your locker room, to really set your locker room apart. It can really cause some questions within the Dolphins organization. A lot of people may not like this move. It's gonna disrupt a lot of things in there. And there were already some from Dolphins players who were very surprised about this. They weren't very happy. So I don't think that was a very good firing there. Wasn't happy about that, but I could see him going somewhere else. Maybe he goes to the Vikings, Bears, Broncos, some places that may need a head coach. Some guys to monitor is. Well, one guy to monitor is Joe Judge, the head coach for the New York Giants. So they already fired their general manager. No, they didn't fire him. He retired. And Dave Gettleman Giants fans very happy about that. And then, are they going to fire Joe Judge? I don't know. I wouldn't. He's only had 1 year. Give him a chance. Or no, is this his second year? I think this is his second year. I don't remember. I don't know why. I have it confused right now. But nonetheless, Joe Judge, I think he's fine. I think he's a really darn good talent evaluator. I think he'd be fine. He does need to work on his coaching a bit, but his talent evaluation is really darn good. He knows good talent when he sees it. So yeah, these were the coaches that were fired today. Let me know your thoughts on some of them. Which one do you think was the most surprising? Which one do you think was most beneficial to the organization? You guys let me know your thoughts, and that's gonna be for this video. Hope you've enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next video. And if you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and put the post notification bell on. Catch y'all next time. Later.